So Scott, tell me, how did this all come about? When was the moment that Zapme started?
It started before it started, actually. We, the family, went to live over in Switzerland for a year as we were consulting for a company over there, and took the whole family over. And what we didn't do was we didn't take our 4 Australian numbers with us, because it would have cost us $10 a day per number, and that would have been around $12,000 for the year. So we didn't take those numbers with us. A mistake, to be honest, because we got over there and suddenly everything that was connected to those numbers, bank accounts, social media, the whole lot, of course when you access them, they wanted OTPs and the numbers were dead. Secondary to that is when I was living overseas, we were traveling between Switzerland and Denmark and Sweden and England and everywhere, and I ended up with about 7 SIM cards taped to my passport. And every time I went back to consult in those countries, I would swap those SIM cards in and swap them out, and I think everyone knows that problem. Which was great until the day COVID came. And then being locked in Switzerland, all those numbers that I provided to everyone for business were suddenly dead. And it was then that I went, wait a second, there's actually no global telco. And let that sink in for a second. No global telco. We have PayPals and bankings and the social media apps and WhatsApp and the whole lot, but there was no global telco, meaning I could have had all those 7 numbers always active on an application on a phone, and COVID wouldn't have mattered. And that's why Zapme was started. Not to mention my co-founder was also living in Europe, and he couldn't get his OTPs either. And I rang him up and told him about my situation. He said, oh my God, I'm in the same boat. And that's when we started the journey. So we thought, well, can we build an application that allows you to have multiple numbers in there? Can you travel the world and always receive those phone calls? But most importantly, what made us different was we're a one-way system. We're not, for example, and no disrespect, we're not a WhatsApp. You both don't need them. In other words, I can call you on any of those numbers anywhere in the world, and you can call me, and you may not even have Zapme. We are a true telecommunications company in that way. That was the thought process, that was the journey starting, and that's what we built. And then of course, while you've got phone numbers, you might as well put data in there, and also messaging as well. So we start with our core communication tools, phone, messaging, and data. And that's how Zapme started.
Now, that's great. I mean, look, obviously you took a problem and you managed to find a solution. Now, in finding that solution, my understanding is that what you have built is truly unique. So run me through that journey. You know, how did you solve this technical challenge that has been out there for forever and a day in the world of telco, and who came on board along for the journey to make that happen?
Sure. I think one of the main points is it's all about simplicity for me. It's like if I get it, most people will. So we wanted to make Zapme really simple, and that means a couple of things. One is you buy a number and it's there. It's a touch of the button. I can call from the US, I can call from UK, I can call from Australia. Very simply with a touch of a button. I don't have to go into the settings, I don't have to understand Android and iOS complications in the background. So that was number one. The second part of that with the application itself was simply embedding eSIM. So we built code, custom built code that allows you to embed an eSIM with the touch of a button from your fingerprint into the operating system of your phone. That was amazing, because to do that allowed you to be able to have that data, but not have to worry about all those technical things that happen in the background. What was exciting for us when we built this was then getting investors on board and explaining to them what we had. And a couple of our original investors are from Silicon Valley, and they were C-suite executives, and they could see Zapme being like PayPal was over banking, is Zapme over telecommunications. That we really have solved that siloed global problem where a telecommunications company sits in one country and then they aggregate around the world. We are a company that has all those towers and all those satellites connected, but you're not sitting there buying it from Australia or the US or UK. You can buy it from anywhere. You can be in Africa and buy a US number today in 60 seconds. That really does make you global. And that was the difference, whereas you can't do that with regular telecommunications companies.